first off, I do want to say congratulations on the upcoming album, the new release and everything.
Thank you.
Um, how are you feeling? I know the release date is approaching soon. Are you getting nervous about it? You getting more excited about it? How's that going?
No, it's honestly it's hilarious. There's so much going on that I just haven't even thought about it, and it's really funny because we're trying to get sorted for all of our shows that are upcoming. Um, we got album release shows and a tour to Australia, and then a bunch of European festivals, and there's like a lot of logistics behind it all. So honestly, I think like the day is gonna come and go, and I'm gonna be like, oh right, the
It's
album
just
came
gonna
out.
flash by.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. How did you, so when you guys first started developing and working on this record, how long ago was that?
Yeah, we started writing in early 2021 because the pandemic was, full on still. And we had a bunch of tours booked in 2020 that we ended up pushing. And so we thought that we were going to be able to do them in spring of 2021. And then, of course, we got to that point and it was like, nope, everything is still falling apart. So, let's push to the fall and see what happens then. And so we were once again kind of like, ugh, you know, we have nothing to do, so might as well start writing the next record. And so I sent a few ideas to the boys for like album ideas for the story, and pitched Phantoma, just kind of like a quick one paragraph synopsis of her story, basically. Uh, you know, a sentient AI that escapes and tries to live among the humans and has modeled herself after this ideal image of humanity and has a bit of a rude awakening and comes up against some fellow androids that are, quite of a different mind frame than she is, and just sort of, unhappiness ensues. And so they were all like, yeah, you know what, I think that that would be a great idea and that we could actually like make that into 10 songs, because I had a few other ideas, but it was like, how do you stretch this into a 10-track album? So then we just kind of got started. I wrote the overview, a track by track overview, which is what I do every time, and it just kind of explains each song as if it were a chapter in the story, and it's kind of like, this is what's going on, and this is how I want the song to feel, and this is how I want the listener to feel. And this is kind of like my idea of the sound that it should have. Like, this should be super heavy and fast, or that kind of stuff. And then sometimes I'd give suggestions with like songs or even just riffs, like this riff at this minute from this song is kind of the vibe that I'm looking for, that kind of stuff. And then the boys would take that and come back and write their riffs. And yeah, so that process took a little while. We just wanted to take our time with it because we didn't want to rush the writing process or anything like that. And it's sometimes I find that you kind of cut corners or do things that you wouldn't otherwise do when you don't, have the time. So it's just nice to be able to kind of work things through. And then we ended up touring a whole bunch in the fall of that year. So then it all got kind of got put on hold anyways. But yeah, it was a while ago. So we've been like working on this record forever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely COVID affected like so much, but especially the music industry. It seemed like everything just shut down. I was taking a lot of photos of shows and wanted to do like some more tours. I didn't do some work on some tours, and then COVID hit and it's just like gone. Everything just
Yeah,
disappeared. I was just like, oh no, nobody's
yeah.
been prepared for this.
No, for sure. It was like the first thing to get shut down, large gatherings, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what that is. And then it was the like the last thing to come back. Still, like even when everything else was open and fine, restaurants were, going strong. Venues were having to cut their capacity in half and even more than that sometimes. And yeah, it took a long time for things to go back to normal for the industry, and it was really too bad. We felt a little forgotten, to be honest, in those days. So it's really nice that it's over.
Yeah. And it's going to be exciting starting out the tours again and everything. All your fans are
Hmm.
going to just go crazy.
Yeah, we're
It's going
very
to be
excited.
awesome. So what it came to with the album, I know you guys have a lot of, you mentioned like a lot of influences, you picked a bunch of songs or riffs from different songs. Is there anything like a specific song or playlist, like something you can pinpoint that it's just like this was what you wanted, or was it kind of just more of a wide variety?
Like as influences for the record?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a little bit of every came from everywhere. So the story itself was influenced by just science fiction movies. A lot of my favorite films, um, in their depictions of androids. So like, Star Wars, the Alien franchise, like all of the Alien movies, and for the Prometheus ones as well. So like David was phenomenal character in all of those. I loved him, and Star Trek, of course. And then there was the
Obviously.
right Data, so conflicted. Like, where does that come from? Oh, I don't know. Um, and then comic books, like I love the comic series Tokyo Ghost. Had an influence on kind of like the scene, the setting of the world where Phantoma lives. And then, yeah, musically, it just came from all of our influences. There was a lot of Ghost because we just kind of wanted a more modern sound, and I feel like Ghost is doing something that no one else really does. So we just kind of wanted that still heavy metal kind of sound, but with a little bit of more pop side to it. So that was one of the bands that I referenced a couple times in the track by track, and then bit of soil work, bit of uh, kind of an amorphous vibe on some stuff, like a little mellow death kind of going on there, and Trivium, um, and then of course the classics like Queensryche and Iron Maiden. They're going to influence everything that we do always. I think it's
Yeah.
just like this underlying foundation of our sound. Um, and then yeah, some kind of out of nowhere stuff like Disney movies. We were definitely feeling the epic Disney vibe the whole time. It actually started with Scott sending over this one song from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it was like what are they called? A mashup with a song from How to Train Your Dragon. And it was like that song was epic enough as it was, but then the ending was like this How to Train Your Dragon thing, and it was hilarious. It was just like, yes, that is the epic vibe we're looking for. And so Andrew just like went down this hilarious rabbit hole of Disney movies, and like we had Disney films playing the whole time we were in the studio at the Airbnb that we were living at together. And I definitely was like, I love Mulan, and like it's one of my favorites. So like I love her song. Look at me, I could never pass for the perfect bride. That's totally like Phantoma's kind of thing. Like, I'll never pass for a human. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like a total Disney vibes going on the whole time. And then like some more classic stuff. We had like a Rob Zombie kind of riff, I think, in there. And uh, I hate to say it, but we definitely were listening to the new Nickelback record. I don't know if I should admit that on here, but
Hey, everybody wants to hate Nickelback, but everybody
yeah,
secretly loves singing along to Nickelback,
right?
so.
How can they just write the easiest, catchiest stuff. So yeah, it's pretty funny. A little bit of everything on this record. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. That's amazing. Like that there's Disney, like there's so many influences on it. That's
Mhm.
that's really awesome.
Yeah, the tough part is like making it so that it all makes sense, all those different things. Like, because you just want to get like just a touch of this and that and the other, and you find a way to kind of string it all together into a song that isn't completely out of left field.
Yeah. Um, when it comes to like concept albums like this, though, that tell a complete cohesive story, was it challenging when you guys had to like choose the singles? Because it could kind of seem like starting a book and starting at chapter 5 instead of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Uh, was there any challenges with that, like picking out the single and stuff like that?
Oh, yes, for sure. We struggle with that every time because it's hard to pick one that doesn't give away the story and but also is, something worth listening to. So, yeah, that's why we went with Green and Glass because we felt that it was kind of this like freeze frame in the story. It was just this moment of her entering the biome and seeing humanity for the first time and being this kind of like kid in a candy store kind of vibe, like look at all this life and this beauty and yes, this is everything that I had hoped for and why is everybody really mean to me and looking at me funny and oh, but look at how stunning this building is and it's like, but I really don't feel like I belong here and so it was just kind of this, it was a less literal telling so that the listener wouldn't be like feel like they were kind of dropped in the middle of everything going on. At least we thought, but that was our, kind of our motivation behind that. Um, and but also when I'm writing the songs, I try and make them in such a way that they can be standalone. They can be in a playlist, and it's not going to make someone go, "What the heck is she talking about?" Like "Ghosts in the Mist" is a really good one for that because it could just be, about any assassin in the night kind of a vibe. Um, but when you listen closer, you realize that there's, a story going on and that you're listening to a single voice kind of talk about um, a scenario that's happening in a larger story. So it's a fine line that you have to walk, and picking the singles is always a struggle every time.
Oh, I bet. Plus, you need something that's just like it hooks them and it
Hmm.
wants them, like it makes them want to just be like, yes, I'm counting down, like timer on the phone and everything. When is the
Yeah.
album release?
Yeah, no, I hope we succeeded in that. Um, I mean, you can never tell what people are going to want either. It's
Mhm.
like some people were like, "Well, where's the power metal?" And we were just kind of like, "Oh, but we've done that. We've had so many albums where the singles are the classic power metal song. We just wanted to try something new." But then you have the people that are like, if you do the same thing, it's kind of like, oh, just another one of these records, and so you have to be like something new, but also something still reminiscent of your past records so that you don't alienate people too much.
Yeah, definitely. And that can be definitely very challenging,
Hmm.
especially
Yes.
with the massive amount of music out there too. It's just like
Yep.
you want to make sure you sound like yourself, but also you don't want people being like, hey, they're copying another band now at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Phantoma, so it's she sees humanity through this very filtered version of reality. In your own words, like how does this concept kind of connect to the way you and the band and even fans, like how all of us humans, how we portray ourselves online and the pressures to conform to like this idealized versions of ourselves?
That's exactly what it's about. It's I wrote the story in the height of the pandemic when we were all completely shut off from one another and living our entire lives online. And it was, a lot of research was starting to be done about how it was affecting the youth especially in North America, just feeling like they have these crazy expectations to live up to, or seeing friends at a party on Instagram, and it's like, why wasn't I invited to that party? You know what I mean? And everyone's just posting on there to be like, I'm living my best life, and you only post the best of yourself on there, and you got filters and all this stuff, um, and it's only been recently, I would say, in the last 6 months, where the thing that's been popular is these influencers being like, okay, so this is the filter that I normally use in my videos, and then like turning it off and seeing them for real, and it's like, and this is what I actually look like, and it's like, don't forget everyone, we're all just human, and it's like, but why were you using a filter in the first place?
Yeah.
This is this is terrifying. Um, and you're just doing this because it's more clicks and views, and this is what's hot right now. So, um, it's absolutely the whole, one of the major themes of the album is that you cannot hold yourself to the standards of the internet. You cannot compare yourself to other people on the internet. And don't listen to what's going on out there. Sure, scroll your cat videos or, the fitness videos or cooking videos or whatever it is that you like to watch, but don't compare yourself to these people. Don't be like, oh man, they're so successful, or look at their big house, look at their amazing kitchen, look at this cool car or their expensive clothing. It's like that you just can't do that because that's probably like their one Gucci outfit in the closet. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. And that's exactly what Phantoma does. Is she sees this ideal human structure that she's kind of been like, oh, this is what humans are, and I'm going to be like them. And they're kind, they're creative, they're funny, they're engaging, they're beautiful. And then she sees the truth, and she's like, what? It was, you guys are all just fake. And that's one of the things that I can't stand about social media. And it's kind of like, just, with things that have happened, it's kind of making me dive even deeper into that sort of theme, is that it's not just that people are like, putting a different version of themselves out there, but they kind of just have stopped being human. Like they don't even remember that there are human beings on the other side of the computer, or that they themselves have feelings and emotions, and they're just like robots, like, oh, post, share, meh, like, give me the views, give me the clicks. And it's kind of like, really, do you want to share that video that's kind of exploiting that person? Really, you want to choose to do that? How would you feel if that was you? Or, you know what I mean? And people have
Mhm.
just stopped thinking like that. And it's like, yeah, the whole dehumanizing process of it. And that's why Phantoma is more human than a human, really, when in the beginning, because she has taken the best parts of us. And then when she realizes that we're not actually like that, she's kind of like, oh, okay, so now I'm really going to be a human and become this like vengeful sort of, um, powerhouse kind of thing. So yeah, it's a frustrating world out there, and I just wanted to write an album that talks about it.
Yeah, I definitely like that because especially like I'll admit it too. Like I'm on social media. I'll be that person that, I'll just come home from work and I'll try to relax a little bit and scroll through something on Instagram. And then next thing I know, it's like 3 hours later and I'm just feeling horrible about myself. It's like, why don't I have like
Right?
this perfect body and like these fancy sports cars and like this multi-million-dollar house with a big pool and stuff like that? And I'm just like, all
Yeah.
right, we need to put the phone away for a while.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's not true. None of it's true. And we just forget that so quickly. Yeah.
Mhm. So I do know that one of the songs, Gods in Decay, that's kind of the mark of the pivotal shift of the perception of humanity for
Hmm.
Phantoma. Um, and you kind of touched on it a little bit where she realizes, yeah, the grass isn't greener on the other side, that humans kind of put up this fake facade. Can you kind of describe more of the emotional arc that she goes through once she does realize this? It's just like, it's not real, it is fake.
Absolutely. Well, it's kind of when she's planning her escape from, this physical computer that she's stuck inside, she is dreaming of being human, but also being amongst her peers, being amongst other robots and androids and computer programs basically that have gained sentience. And so she's got these kind of this ideal world, this ideal outcome in her mind. And when she finally meets the collective, and they are, I guess you could say, they hold opposing views from her regarding humanity, and she is rejected by them. She's kind of like, oh, okay, well, that didn't go like I thought it would. Well, let's go, tell the humans about this army that's coming for them. And then the humans reject her. And she's just like, okay, what the heck? She had these huge expectations. And all of a sudden, she's just kind of like a failure on both sides. And yeah, and Gods and Decay is that moment when she's like, I didn't I just thought that this was going to be so different. I thought that humans were kind and that they were going to accept me and be a little bit more like they are on the Netaverse. And then, she's just kind of all this loss and this destruction of her hope takes her to the lowest point in Give It Up or Give It All. And she's just kind of like trying to muster the will to carry on with what she doesn't even know. She's just like, well, I can't join the collective because it'll erase my mind and who I am and this person that I become. And I can't live in the biome with humans that they will also erase my mind and turn me into back into a mindless bot. And where do I go? What do I do? I had this friend with me that was like my person, and they helped me feel like I had the strength to carry on. And now I have to find that strength within myself, and I just don't think I have it. And then there's this moment where she's kind of like, this is wrong. This is stupid. This is I don't why am I feeling this way? I don't have to feel this way. I am who I am, and I'm gonna figure this out. And then some time passes, and she returns as the Ghost in the Mist with other like-minded sentient AI who are kind of like, well, if we're gonna live happily ever after on this planet together, then you need to go and you need to go. The people that are standing in the way of this dream of me being able to live um, alongside humankind, of machine kind and humankind living harmoniously. She's like, that anyone that stands in my way is yeah, finished. So she just, and then that's the point where it's like she moves from being this ideal of humanity to being what humanity has shown itself to be so often, which
Mm.
is, vindictive and um, intolerant of those that don't think like us. And so it's kind of like that's the moment when she truly becomes human. And it's really sad because she's lost everything, and she gets to the point where she's just like, I have nothing left to lose. So she's in like the darkest place. And then only finally, kind of at the end of Blood Empress, when when the smoke clears, is she finally like, oh, okay, I kind of did those things, didn't I? Maybe I need to, have a little bit of introspection here. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of the usual hero's journey kind of vibe, success and then failure and then, rising from the ashes and then a sort of happy ending, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm. I know like the idea of AI is it's still very new. And
Mhm.
it's kind of scary when you see it, especially like throughout social media, people making like fake videos and fake images of themselves and all like, people using ChatGPT and type in a little prompt and next thing you know, they've got a whole storyline basically. So I know like there's a lot of controversial thought about AI. People saying we should completely get rid of it, we shouldn't be using it. A lot of people saying like, no, it is very helpful and useful. Um, it seemed like it was a very good tool for this. Um, what's kind of like, are you kind of anticipating from fans and all? Like, what's kind of the range of reaction you guys are thinking you're going to receive? Are you thinking people are going to be really happy? Like, yay, like the fact that some AI was used with this is a very good thing, or do you think there's going to be a lot of negative backlash on it, or
Well, they're already, everyone already kind of has expressed their opinions one way or the other, and we've definitely had a lot of, oh wow, using AI in an album about AI, cool, like that's fun. And then we've had people that are like, how dare you? AI and creativity have no place together. I'm never listening to you guys again. Um, and it's just kind of like so divided, and um, and that's fine. That's the way it is when new things arise, when new tech is introduced to the world. It takes a while for it to find its place, and for it to kind of simmer down and become the monotonous thing that everything else has. You know, TV. I'm sure people were just like, I don't want this thing in my home, sending me pictures from somewhere else. Who knows what's going on here? Like I'm sure there's a lot of things that have been um, scary at the
Mhm.
beginning. So it's, it is what it is. You can't change people's minds. You just kind of got to do your own thing. And we were in the studio and we were, recording an album that was about AI becoming sentient, um, inspired by our favorite things like Blade Runner and uh, Star Trek that have these super cool futures. And it's just kind of like, why don't we use this technology of the future kind of a thing in an album about the future? And um, yeah, it was just us having fun. It's not like something that we're not like, holding the AI banner high or anything like that. AI forever. No, we don't feel like that at all. It was just like, cool, let's use ChatGPT and write a couple lyrics with it. Um, yeah, it was just kind of like a fun spur of the moment thing. Um, but I mean, I'm sure it's going to be used a lot more in the future by people, and I think it's already super prevalent in everything that we do. I mean, you're texting people, and your phone is saying like, did you actually want to say this word, or whatever, or like it stopped changing tour to your, because it figured it out that like I say the word tour a lot in my text messages, so it's adapting to me. It's machine learning right there in my phone. It's already everywhere. It's a part of everything that we do. So I don't think that, I mean, it was really just kind of a novelty thing for us. I don't think we'll use it going forward, but there are probably people that will, and that's fine. I'm not gonna say that they're not a musician anymore just because, they had some fun putting a prompt into some program. Like, what? You just negate everything else that they've done, or someone that doesn't play the guitar or sing or play the piano, anything like that, goes into a program and writes a song with AI. Like, good for you, cool. You made music. You always wanted to be able to do that, and you couldn't before, and now you can. Why? That's who am I to gatekeep music from people, regardless of how it's made? You know, um, it's no different than starting a band in your garage that sounds just like Zeppelin, because like that's your biggest influence, or whatever you want to do. Like, think of all the bands that came out that were As I Lay Dying clones in the early aughts, like a million bands. And then, they kind of figured out their own sound and they got better and they changed and they added some stuff in and they became their own bands. But they all started because they wanted to be, Trivium or whatever.
Mhm.
So I just don't see how it's any different. Feel free to argue with me in the comments of this interview, people, um, because uh, what's wrong with there being more music in the world? I don't know. That's kind of my opinion, I guess. But
Mhm.
I'm also like the person that wants the Star Trek future where we have no starvation and everything's taken care of, and it gives us the time and energy and intellectual space to journey out among the stars and find whatever what's the Star Trek phrase again? I don't remember. But anyways, yeah, that's I feel like that we kind of have to have some tough conversations before that can happen.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to ask real quick, because when COVID hit, a lot of people got into kind of, working out at home, working from home, but like mental health became like a big thing. Taking care of your mental health, taking care of yourself physically, just because, COVID was going around like crazy and everything like that. Were there any like kind of self-care practices that you kind of adapted, worked on, and that you noticed really helps you, especially with like demanding roles, trying to take care of balanced life and work, get the album out, freaking out about when you're gonna tour again, all that stuff. Is there anything
Yeah.
that really worked for you to kind of keep yourself good and calm and healthy?
Well, I discovered the treadmill, which was great because I had tried like running outside before and kind of like, oh, let's be out in nature, but it just wasn't for me because I had to be too present. Whereas on the treadmill, I can like disappear into my head and it just moves my body forward, and I don't have to think about it. And I literally just like stare at a spot on the wall and disappear. And a lot of times that was where um, I would be free to imagine, to create, to come up with these stories, and to come up with, you know, ideas for music videos or stage outfits or whatever. The idea for the album cover artwork, stuff like that. So I really loved like having that kind of time to myself where it was still like doing something that was good for me physically and also a place where I could go mentally to escape. So that was like the best, and I haven't been able to get back there since since I had my daughter. So I miss it a lot, but hopefully I'll be able to get there after all this touring is
Nice.
done.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. We're very excited for the album and all the tours, all the shows. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in the photo pit or from the photo
Yeah,
pit. Um,
absolutely.
so just wanted to say real quickly, is there anything you want to say real quick to the fans, people watching this, anything like that?
Just thank you so much for listening to the record, and thanks so much for your support over the years. And if you can, try and listen to the album from beginning to end, because that's how we wrote it. But if not, I get it. If you're a playlist person, that's cool too. We're just happy. We're just happy that you're here. And thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.